This is Dr. Jessica with Yost Family Chiropractic, and I am one of 3 doctors here in the office, and we focus mainly on family wellness, especially pediatrics. So pediatrics, treating kids has become one of the most rewarding aspects of my profession, and I love it when kids are excited to come into the office, when I hear that they play chiropractor at home, or when they help me turn their parents' power on, or which is what we call the adjustments here in the office. So I started focusing on kids because of my little sister, who is now 11. She was an unexpected but exciting surprise my senior year of high school. So I've seen her develop and grow into a smart, talented, beautiful young girl, and I want nothing but the best for her. I want her to be healthy, successful, and achieve her dreams. She motivates me every day to help the future of other kids. And I know all of you want the very best and brightest future for your kids, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this. So I've chosen to talk about ADHD because it's becoming more prevalent. Approximately 11% or 6.4 million children in the United States between the ages of 4 and 17 have been diagnosed with ADHD as of 2011, and the numbers continue to rise. So we really need to start making a change. So some of the things we're going to talk about, you might try all or a few or none of them, but just know that there are natural solutions. So we're going to be talking about the 3 most common causes of ADHD, key foods to eliminate, questions to ask before starting medication, whether supplements really work, and what parents can do to decrease the stress in the whole family. Before we go any further, I want you to take a quick moment and think about what health means to you. What is health? Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not just the absence of disease or illness, which is what most people believe health to be. But how do you really measure health? How do you know if you're optimally physically well, socially well, or mentally well? If you take a look at this line here, you're either heading towards the lack of function or heading towards the 100% function or peak performance. So I want you to think about where you lie on this line based on your daily activities, behaviors, habits, diet, and lifestyles. Are you at peak performance? If not, that's totally okay. The good news about health, it's never stagnant. So you're never in the same place all the time on this line. And health is the direction that you're going. So you can start making changes today that will allow the function of your body to be better tomorrow than it is today. And symptoms, do you think that they're good or are they bad? So if I were to give you a magic pill, it allows you to never feel pain again. A lot of people will decide to take it. But if we look at it from another perspective, if you take this pill and you're walking around barefoot outside and you step on a rusty nail and you have no idea that you stepped on it. And so, it's in your foot and you're still walking around a couple days later, it kind of starts to get infected, but you have no idea. And a couple weeks go by, and it's starting to get really infected, starting to turn different colors, just gross. But then again, you don't feel anything, so you're not aware that anything is happening. And eventually you do start to notice that it's getting black, your foot's getting black, and it's working its way up the leg. So you finally decide to go see a doctor. And the only option right now that you have is, amputate the leg, which, good news for you, you don't feel any pain because that's going to be pretty painful. So that's just another way to look at it. Symptoms are your body's warning sign that something is happening, and it's a good indicator that a change needs to be made. But how does your body know that there's something going on? And that is because of the central nervous system. The central nervous system allows your body and your brain to communicate. And if there's interference that gets in the way of that communication, that's when you start getting signs and symptoms. And, your body actually knows what to do and how to do it to allow it to function at its most optimal level. It just needs no interference. If you cut yourself, your body instinctively knows how to heal itself. Or when you put food in your mouth, your body knows how to digest it. But what kind of interference can affect the function of our bodies? And that is inflammation. Inflammation, it can cause all sorts of conditions and diseases, including ADHD. But what causes inflammation? Stress. But when I say stress, I mean any physical, chemical, or emotional stressors. that can play a part and affect the function of our nervous systems. So you can read here different kind of stressors, and we'll talk a little bit more about those individually. But inflammation is one of the possible causes of ADHD. 1 in 16 children are diagnosed with ADHD. But why has the incidence of ADHD increased? Some think it's due to better diagnosis, others blame maternal age, a mix of genetic predispositions and environmental factors, including, vaccines, amongst other stuff. Experts debate these theories at the same time that more and more children are being negatively impacted by this condition. We're not all hardwired the same, and everyone expresses stress differently. Some people, when they're stressed, they emotionally feel stressed, or some people will start having pain, muscle spasms, digestion issues, reproductive issues, or with kids with ADHD, that's how they express their stress. So taking a look here at physical stress. So physical imbalances in the spine and posture cause stress on the nervous system, which interferes with your ability to process information and adapt properly to the environment. Take different causes for physical stress are traumatic births, cesarean, using forceps, vacuum, even vaginal birth can be pretty traumatic. Falls or accidents, poor posture, trauma, sports injuries, constantly sitting with poor posture with computers or playing video games. And chemical stresses, a lot of chemical stresses come from our diet, and processed foods are the number one chemical stressor amongst kids and everybody in the United States. America's food industry is really a heartless, greedy exploiter of children. The horrible effects of massive intakes of processed foods, sugars, and toxic substances on our children are enormous. And just taking a look at this list here, wheat, soda, dairy, soy, artificial food coloring, high fructose corn syrup, drugs, vaccines, all those can play a part in affecting our nervous system. All right, and then breaking down chemical stresses a little bit further, food allergies and sensitivities, there's been repeated scientific studies that have indicated that as many as 66% of ADHD diagnosed children actually have an unrecognized food allergy causing their symptoms. This means that 2/3 of hyperactive children do not need a class 2 narcotic drug such as Ritalin. Another thing to look at too, blood sugar. If your blood sugar is unstable, it can cause up and down and mood irritability, inability to focus and concentrate, fatigue, hyperactivity, and those symptoms all sound pretty similar and associated with ADHD. So we need to help stabilize the blood sugar, and you can do that every time you eat. You should balance a carbohydrate or sugar with a protein and never go longer than every 4 hours without eating. And taking a look at medications, American children are also about 3 times more likely to be prescribed psychotropic drugs than children in Europe. On CBS News special Health Watch, a piece titled ADHD Drug Warning reported on recent research associating the risk of heart attacks with Ritalin use. So we need to take a deeper look into what the side effects of certain drugs are. Some of them can be appetite suppression, insomnia, abdominal pain, headaches, tachycardia, overfocusing, compulsiveness, decreased social interaction, reduced spontaneity, and the rare occasion of acute hallucinations. The idea of matching a drug to a chemical imbalance is generally supported, and the vast majority of healthcare providers unfortunately prescribe psychological drugs based on a patient's symptoms, and few try to match a drug to a biochemical imbalance. So this may actually explain why some drugs are ineffective for some patients. And about 3/4 of the prescription drugs on the market do not have labeling indications for children, leaving their use for children to the physician's discretion. Taking another look at Ritalin and antidepressants, another side effect of those are depression and suicide. Worldwide, 90% of Ritalin is consumed here in the United States. 65% of patients maintain symptoms into adulthood. Although medications can keep ADHD under control, it can't cure it. In 2003, there was a study done in a neuropsychological postgraduate program at Harvard Medical School. There were 2 groups. One was given Ritalin and one was given dietary supplements. And tests revealed that the subjects in both groups showed significant and essentially identical improvements between Ritalin and dietary supplements. So why give drugs if you really don't have to? All right, let's look at emotional stress. So in infancy, just some questions to ask. Was there an immediate bond formed through breastfeeding and caressing after birth? How much separation occurred in the first few days of life? What role did the father, grandparents, and friends play? What was the mother's state of mind during the first 12 weeks? Because there are a lot of changes that happen. And in childhood, how does the child respond to new surroundings? Have they suffered a loss at an early age? How do they respond to the word no? And is there stress going on at home? Because they might not understand what's going on, but they can feel what is going on. And so if there's stress going on at home, they feel it. And just know that emotional stress is the number 1 cause of disease. And then some questions to ask yourself before heading in the direction of medication. Are you really sure that your child has ADHD rather than some other problems which is causing him or her to be inattentive? Not all problems with attention are due to ADHD. If a child is bored, that child won't be paying attention. The same is true of a child who is sleep deprived or depressed. Advocating for your child to ensure that he has been accurately evaluated and diagnosed is important. So if you have doubts, it is okay to ask why your child was diagnosed or to get a second opinion. Has your child had problems in elementary school, or did teachers only start talking about attention in middle school? ADHD hardly ever emerges after a kid turns 12. So if your child didn't have a problem in 5th grade, but now in 8th grade is having issues, there's likely to be some other explanation. Maybe your son has decided that it's uncool for boys to care about school, or your daughter is more concerned about texting and Instagram rather than about Spanish or English class. What are the side effects of medications? Are you comfortable with the risks of giving your kid ADHD medication? And what are alternative options like behavior therapy, supplements, or dietary changes? So where do we start with these kids? Just some natural options that we're going to be talking about: diet changes, natural supplementation, lifestyle changes, and chiropractic care. So you can start removing wheat, dairy, artificial coloring, high fructose corn syrup, and all those should help decrease some of the symptoms of ADHD, allergies, asthma, and even autism. And stabilizing blood sugar, which we talked about, filtered water, food allergy and sensitivity testing is always another good thing you can try out too, to see if they have high allergy or sensitivity to certain foods. Then you can eliminate those foods from the diet. Looking at natural supplementation, fish oil or omega-3 fatty acids reduce inflammation and have been shown in research to be more effective than antipsychotic medications without the side effects. And they can help ADHD, autism, allergies, and asthma. Probiotics are great, good for gut health, and increases the immune system function and reduces inflammation. Natural antihistamines and anti-inflammatories. We have a list of different ones there. 95% of Americans are deficient in essential fatty acids. So if you're not supplementing with them, you should start. So foods that have a high content of essential fatty acids or fish oil: fatty fish like salmon, raw almonds, walnuts, avocados, flaxseed oil, and olive oil. All right, lifestyle changes that can help decrease stress in the whole family. We need to reduce nervous system stimulants like TV, Game Boys, PlayStations, or cell phones, iPads, anything of that sort. Exercise, yoga, meditation. Kids with behavioral issues need more exercise than kids who don't. Movement and exercise increases the size of the cortex of the brain, which regulates brain patterns. And we need to slow down our schedules. ADHD is aggravated by stress and busy schedules, so we really need to slow it down. We are all constantly on the go. We just never have time, it seems, for the important things like family time, family meals. We need to sit down and eat together, not while watching TV or having electronics nearby. We really need to start building connections and have fun and make memories. You can either exercise together, make meals together, something fun like that. Anything that keeps stress outside of the home and really value that family time. And sleep. Sleep is very important. You need to make sure that everyone in the family is getting enough sleep. In one study of more than 10,000 kids, those with irregular bedtimes had more problems with learning and behavior, including lower scores on problem-solving tests, higher rates of hyperactivity, more emotional difficulties, and increased problems with peers. So preschoolers age 3 to 5 need about 10 to 13 hours. School-age children between age 6 and 13 need 9 to 11 hours. Teenagers 14 to 17 need 8 to 10 hours of sleep. And even parents need sleep, so make sure you're getting enough of that too. How is stress affecting you? So stress is good for you short term. It releases cortisol, which boosts your immune system and gives you a burst of energy. But stress long term is not good for you. The autonomic nervous system is divided into two parts, the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Have you heard of the fight or flight response? Have you ever, when you're camping out in the woods and a bear happens to be there, you instinctively know to run. That is the fight or flight response. And that is what the sympathetic nervous system does. Or if you look at it this way, it's the gas pedal. And the parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for relaxation, or the brake pedal. So we technically should be more parasympathetic nervous system dominant, which we should be relaxed most of the time. But a lot of us tend to be more sympathetic nervous system dominant, so constantly on the go, constantly on that gas pedal. And eventually, your body's going to run out of gas. And that's when your nervous system gets exhausted. And that's when you're setting your body up for sickness and disease because your nervous system, like I said, is exhausted and it can't handle any more stress. So short term, stress is good. Long term, not so much. So those physical, chemical, and emotional stressors cause nerve interference by misalignments in the spine or subluxations, which prevent the brain and the body from communicating like they should. Because all of the nerves that connect to every single organ, muscle, and gland in your body come from the side of your spine, which are what these yellow guys are here. And so if there's nerve interference like the red one, there's a misalignment in the spine putting pressure and stress on that nerve, it blocks the communication between the brain and the body. And that's when you start getting dysfunction and symptoms. So the weight of a dime on a spinal nerve decreases nerve transmission by as much as 60%, which leads me to chiropractic, and I would feel it would be a big disservice to everyone listening not to mention chiropractic care because it's so amazing. As chiropractors, we treat your nervous system by treating your spine and removing these nerve interferences just to allow everything in your body to communicate with the brain and to allow your body to function optimally. Because like I said before, your nervous system controls everything in your body, and you want to make sure that there's no nerve interference getting in the way of that communication. So subluxations are the most common cause of nerve interference and lowers your ability to function, including causing imbalances in brain activity. So you can read a little bit more about those again, but we want to make sure that there's no interference getting in the way of your brain communicating with your body to allow optimal function. So what are the effects of a stressed out child? The lack of ability to concentrate, and they get frustrated very easily, and sensory integration issues. So with chiropractic care, restores proper spinal and nervous system balance, and it's recalibrating the brain essentially. More research is showing that adjustments have a direct effect on the brain. It decreases cortisol, or your stress hormone, decreases inflammation, increases dopamine, and it increases oxytocin. And we're just allowing the child's nervous system to better adapt and integrate to his or her environment and environmental stressors. So thank you for listening. Just a few things before I bid everyone goodbye. If you are at all interested in getting you yourself or your kids in to get checked, we are offering a $49 promo, which includes a complete muscular and neurological exam, nervous system scans, which is looking at the overall function of your nervous system, and x-rays if they are needed, all for $49, which is a really great deal. And I would highly suggest getting your kids checked. Even if you're not going to go through with chiropractic care, is always a good idea, especially for scoliosis and other postural issues that can lead to further problems down the road. or you can just give us a call if you have questions at 515-278-9678. Or you can email us at info@Yost Family Chiropractic. And again, I might not be a mother, but every child that comes through our doors holds a special place in my heart. And my patients, no matter what age, have a huge impact on my life, and I could not ask for a better profession. And remember that the choices we make today for our family and ourselves determine our futures. So again, this is Dr. Jessica Stensland with Yost Family Chiropractic, and we'll see you later.